Hello and welcome to For Your Journey. The 2018 yearly theme, the international theme that the Chief Apostle gave us is Faithful to Christ. So now for our February For Your Journey, we wanted to unpack that a little bit and talk about faithful to Christ, what that means. So the question that kind of inspires in me is like, if I'm faithful to church, we hear a lot about that as well, coming to church and being involved and serving and doing things for our congregations and our neighbors and everything. How is being faithful to the church different or the same as being faithful to Christ?
As in anything in our faith, we have to evolve. We have to keep growing and discovering more what the Lord wants to show us. Sometimes we had the feeling that if I came to all the services, if I did certain things, that I could say to myself, I'm faithful. But that's really not what that means, faithful to Christ. Faithful to Christ is very, again, as the Chief Apostle mentioned, is multifaceted. And there's so much a deeper understanding of that. To remain loyal to Christ, to remain steadfast with Him, to being constantly in love with Him, that it's speaking about a relationship with Jesus Christ directly that each soul has. Certainly, the church is necessary as a vehicle to help us come to that, and that's why we have church. But each soul has to make their relationship with Christ and has to remain steadfast in that relationship.
Yeah, that relationship that kind of got elaborated on in the New Year's service, or the beginning of the year service, had these 4 points about what it means to be faithful to Christ, talking about being faithful to His example, following His example, and constant in love, and wanting to serve Him, and then also keeping the promises. Let's talk about those for a little bit. Following Christ's example as a way of being faithful to Him.
I think to follow Christ's example, first of all, we have to learn more about Jesus Christ because it's so beautiful. He lived, so now we have a true man and true God that we can follow and see what did He do, what did He say, how did He respond to various things. One small thing, how He prayed. He always, here now He is the Son of God, and yet He found it necessary to pray and make a constant connection with God. That's one thing that we can look at ourselves and say, am I praying in the example of Jesus Christ?
Yeah. Even taking the time to remove Himself from distractions and from His friends to take that time and calibrate.
Exactly.
Sure, yeah. And constant in love.
Constant in love is, again, this consistency that there's not a cyclical feeling with us with the Lord that, I'm very excited and thrilled after the divine service on Sunday, and somewhere in the middle of the week it sort of erodes away and so on, that really we stay genuine to what we believe in, and that love even flows out because we love Christ. We love one another. We learn to love one another even though we see weaknesses and differences between us.
Yeah. A verse that I think of when I hear that phrase about being constant in love is the verse that Jesus said to His disciples in John 13, that, this is how they'll know that you're my disciples, if you have love for one another as I have loved you. And not only that's how the world will know that you're my disciples, but that's how He knows we're His disciples, is that we have love for one another.
And it's big shoes to fill. When He said, love as I have loved you, it's big. So it's not something that's easily done.
Yeah. And then the serving faithfully.
Serving faithfully, to me, the key word there is, am I willing to serve? Do I want to serve? It's easy to serve and say, well, I must do it because that's what I've been told to do in the church. I should serve the community. I should do this and that. But do I want to do that? Yeah. And I have to look into myself to say, do I have a genuine desire? Because that's what lived in Jesus.
Yeah, for sure.
Born out of His love.
Mm-hmm. And all of those kind of His serving and his love and His example kind of led to His promises of what He did and what He will yet to do.
Exactly, and now we have to look at what we've promised Him. And the two big things that we promised, for instance, on Confirmation Day, we promised to renounce the devil and we promised to surrender ourselves. And both of these words, both of these promises can really be elaborated on. There's so much to what it means to renounce the devil, to push him away, and also what it means to surrender, to lay down everything, to be near to the Lord. So I'm very excited to see how these things unfold as the year goes forward and how we learn truly to have a deeper and more genuine faithfulness to Jesus Christ.
And we do that by taking a real honest look at ourselves to say, am I faithful to him? Am I following his example? Am I being constant in love? Am I serving? Am I keeping my promises to him?
Exactly that. Frankly, I think we need to all shake ourselves a little bit, because when we hear this motto, "Oh, faithful to Christ," yes, everybody will say, "Yeah, I think so. I am."
I come to church.
But yes, I come to church.
Yeah.
I do the things I'm supposed to do, and so on. And I'm human, so I make my mistakes and so on. But I think it's time for us to really look much deeper at ourselves and say, am I really doing these things? Am I following his example? Am I doing all these different aspects that have been outlined?
Yeah, because it's not just about attendance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining us on this episode of For Your Journey. If you have any suggested questions or topics for future discussion, you can find us on Facebook or Twitter. And once again, this has been For Your Journey.